What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of GBA. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the most recent additions to my comic book collection. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, I like collecting comic books. I don't have the biggest collection in the world, but I feel like my collection is pretty cool. I have this weird obsession with wanting to collect first issue Marvel comic books, and I have quite a few. I did a video a while ago now showing my comic book collection. If I remember, I'll put a link to that video in the comments, or you could simply search through my videos and find it. But if you haven't seen my comic book collection video, I highly suggest you do it. If you like comic books, I have some pretty cool issues in there. So yeah, in this video in particular, we have 6 first issue Marvel comics that I want to show you. Now, none of these are going to like break the bank or anything like that, but I feel like these are cool comics to add to the collection. I like having that piece of history. So yeah, without further ado, guys, let's take a look at the 6 comic books that I've added to my collection, I would say over the last, few months or so. So these are in no particular order, and they're sitting here on my lap, so we'll get into this. So first up, we have a Marvel Triple Action #1 from February of 1972. So yeah, this features Doctor Doom, The Thing, and Silver Surfer. So yeah, all of these are CGC graded as well. At least I think so. Well, they're all graded. I'm pretty sure they're all CGC graded. But yeah, this is a really, really cool comic to add to the collection. Obviously, you can't really look at these comic books when they're slabbed like this, but I'm sure you can find this issue online if you wanted to actually read it. But like I said, it's just cool to have this small piece of history in the game room. Yeah, so Marvel Triple Action #1, I guess it's basically like 3-in-1 thrills from Mighty Marvel. So I'm guessing it's like kind of like 3 smaller comics in one. I'm not particularly sure, to be honest, but super happy to add this collection. And yeah, cool comic to start out with. Alright, so next up, CGC graded Kazaar #1 from January of 1974. So once again, a #1 issue Marvel comic. We have Kazaar here, which is very, very interesting. I don't know much about this comic book. It says the fabulous first issue, Return to the Savage Land. So yeah, 20 cents from January of 1974. Really, really cool comic to add to the collection. Not your typical superhero by any means. You've got the cool Evel Knievel ad here on the back. So yeah, really cool to get this. Once again, happy to add to the collection. We have Kazaar #1. So yeah, super cool. Alright, so next up, we actually have my first, I guess you could call it larger comic book. So this is an 80-page blockbuster. So we have Marvel Superheroes #1 from what appears to be May of 1990. So yeah, this is a larger size comic, I guess. And if you look, one of the reasons that drew me into this comic is all of the characters on the cover. You have Moon Knight, Hercules, Black Panther, Speedball, Brother Voodoo, and Magic. So yeah, a really, really cool comic to add to the collection. And my first one that's kind of like a larger issue, I guess you could say. And one of the cool things about this is on the back, it's advertising Demon Sword for the NES. Which I'm sure a lot of you know by now, the NES is my favorite console of all time. So it's really, really neat to see those advertisements. So yeah, Marvel Superheroes #1. Happy to add it to the growing comic book collection. Alright, so next up we have Nightcrawler #1 from what appears to be November of 1985. So yeah, Nightcrawler, not the most popular, I guess you could say, X-Men out there, but I mean, he's still a character, I guess. He was in, I know he was in the 2000s movies. I haven't seen all of the more modern X-Men movies, but Nightcrawler has always been a very cool character. He was playable in several video games and stuff like that, but it's cool to get Nightcrawler #1 into the collection. And on the back, you have like a Honeycombs ad, the cereal. So that's a little bit different. Yeah, but from 1985, happy to add Nightcrawler #1 to the collection. Alright, so we got 2 more comics here, guys. So this one is Sleepwalker #1 from what appears to be June of 1991. So yeah, it says Marvel's newest superhero, evildoer's worst nightmare. So yeah, pretty cool play on words there. I don't know much about Sleepwalker, but yeah, it's fun to get this from June of 1991 if I didn't mention that. But yeah, Sleepwalker #1. It's hard to believe the 1990 was 30 years ago. Who would have ever thought? But yeah, cool comic to add to the collection. And this one has an amazing ad on the back. We have All-Star Challenge for the Game Boy. So that's really cool. You get a Game Boy advertisement and some classic NBA players there. So that's really, really cool. Always fun to see. I really liked the NBA back in the 90s. Not the biggest fan of the NBA today, but back then there was a lot of great teams. I really enjoyed watching it, especially when it came down to the finals. The Bulls, obviously, with Michael Jordan was like huge. I always found myself rooting for the other team. I've always been kind of an underdogs guy. But yeah, back on track. Sleepwalker #1 from 1991. Happy to add it to the collection. Alright, so last up, we have the Toxic Avenger #1 from what appears to be April of 1991. So yeah, this is based off of the Trauma movie character. So for those of you who don't know, the movie was like a B movie. It gained a lot of popularity. I think it was one of the most popular B movies at the time that made the most money. I'm sure that's been eclipsed now. But Toxic Avenger he's a cool character. I have some action figures. I have some video games, the NES game based off of him specifically. But yeah, cool character. Happy to add this comic to the collection from 1991. We have Toxic Avenger #1, the first all-toxic collector's item issue. The first superhero from New Jersey. So there's a bit of trivia for you. So on the back of this one, we have probably the best advertisement. We have Turtles 2, the arcade game for NES advertised on the back of this game. It's one of my favorite NES games. Spent so much time with that game when I was a kid with my friends. But yeah, last comic I'm showing you. Happy to add the Toxic Avenger to the collection. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there overall. Like I said, nothing that's going to break the bank, but some great comics to add to the collection. So in closing with this video, do you guys collect comic books? If you do, what kind of comic books do you like? Do you like collecting first issue comics? I always just felt it's cool to have that piece of history. I would love to have a little conversation with you guys about comic books down in the comments. But for now, guys, that's probably going to end the video. But first, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I will always appreciate every single one of you that watch these videos. If you know anybody who might like this kind of content, please share the video around. I'm always looking to grow the channel a little bit. But for now, guys, I'm probably going to go open up some boxes, maybe play some video games, try to enjoy the rest of my evening. Hope you do too. So until next time, everyone, I'll see you later.